Are you planning a cruise to Alaska? Are you looking at port excursions and wondering which ones are right for you? Are you interested in meeting sled dogs and real mushers? Today I'm going to walk you through our port excursion in Juneau, Alaska to Musher's Camp. We met real mushers in training for the Iditarod, and we met real sled dogs in training as well. And yes, we got to hold puppies. Today I'm going to tell you all about the excursion in case you're planning something similar and would like to know more about it. I'm going to tell you what the tour promised, how the day unfolded, how much it cost, and what we thought of our day in Musher's Camp. First things first, I booked this excursion while on an Alaska cruise. I booked it through the ship. I cruised with Princess Cruise Lines on the Royal Princess with family in September of 2023. Our cruise stopped in Ketchikan, Juneau, and Skagway, and there were opportunities in each port to take this kind of excursion to meet sled dogs and mushers. We took this particular expedition in Juneau. Let's take a quick look at what the tour promised. It was going to be just over 2 hours long. We would be picked up at the port and returned to the port. We were promised a ride on a sled made out of metal and wheels. We were told we would drive through the Tongass National Forest and be in a very scenic area. And we were told we would have a chance to cuddle with some puppies at the end. And we were also told that we would be given a presentation and an education on what it's like to train for the Iditarod as a musher and what it's like to train sled dogs for the Iditarod. Our excursion was supposed to take place in the morning. However, there was quite a bit of fog the day we ported in Juneau, and all morning excursions were bumped to the afternoon, and some excursions were canceled. At the designated time of 1:30 in the afternoon, we left the ship, and there was a person waiting there with a sign in front of the buses. We boarded the bus and drove through town. Then we drove out through the Tongass National Forest to the Musher's Camp, and it was about a 20-minute drive. It was a beautiful drive, very scenic. We had a wonderful bus driver who narrated the whole way what we were seeing, the history of Juneau, the history of the Iditarod. She pointed out all kinds of trees. If she saw an eagle, she would help us find it. It was a very interesting drive. Our arrival in camp was so much fun. The dogs were harnessed up to the sleds and they were going crazy with excitement. The bus driver explained that when the bus pulls into the lot, the dogs know they're about to run and they get very wound up. We got off the bus and took a quick look around. We were deep in the forest. It was beautiful. It was cool and comfortable. The dogs were excited. It was a great way to start the tour. Our musher came over and introduced herself. She told us a little bit about the dogs, and then we all jumped on the sled right away so we could get that sled ride out of the way immediately while the dogs were so excited. Those dogs can move, let me just say that. They exploded when we started, and we were flying. The sled comes equipped with safety belts, and we were instructed to put those on before we left, and I'm so glad that we did because that ride was bumpy. We were kind of flying around the curves. I couldn't believe how much motion we got into that ride. The track was about 1.5 miles long or so. The musher stopped the dogs halfway through and let them rest for a little while. During that quick rest break, she talked to us a little bit about the dogs. She explained that even though the sled weighs 2,000 pounds plus the weight of the people in it, she has to use the brake the whole way because the dogs are so strong and so powerful that the sled would lose control if she didn't use the brake the entire time. She also talked to us at this point about what it takes to feed a sled dog in training. Then we were ready to go again for the second half of the sled ride. Another explosive start and another race down the rest of the track. So much fun. I have to tell you, this was exhilarating. I knew it would be enjoyable. I didn't expect it to be this exciting and this fast. It was so much fun. When we came back to camp and the dogs came to a stop, they continued to bark quite a bit. They were tired but excited, and you could tell they were ready to go again if necessary. The musher gave the dogs some water, and we all got off the sled, and we were invited to pet them and take pictures of them and just approach them as much as we wanted to. My son petted all the dogs. He made special friends here with a dog named Jules. The musher explained that Jules was extra friendly and extra needy. And Jules didn't want my son to walk away when he was done petting him. We had a nice visit with the dogs, took plenty of pictures, just admired them for a while. And then it was time for part 2 of the tour. And this was the presentation about mushing and taking care of sled dogs. This was a 10 to 15 minute presentation about the realities of being a musher in training for the Iditarod, how much it costs, what goes into the planning, the training, what their schedule is like all year round. It was fascinating. We were invited to ask as many questions as we liked, and we learned so much. When the presentation was over, we were invited to wander the area and look around the camp. Right next to the presentation area was a wooden bridge over to a platform over a creek. A lot of us went right over there, and it was just so beautiful, so scenic, so quiet. It was lovely to spend just a few minutes soaking in the atmosphere of the forest. There was a lot to see here, a lot to just take in and relax and appreciate. After we finished looking around that area, we went back to the main part of camp, and this is the part where we got to meet the puppies. The musher who had given the presentation was the owner of the mother and the puppies. The mother was right there with the puppies in a pen. She was not worried about anything. The musher took the puppies out one by one and let us hold the puppies and pass them around. She stayed close by, and everybody was gentle and respectful. The puppies were sleepy and toasty warm, and it was just so sweet and so wonderful. They were very sweet puppies. Of course, they licked our faces or fell asleep in our arms. The puppy holding went on about 15 minutes, and then the puppies were put back with their mom. And we were invited to head over to this little tiny area here with refreshments. There was a hand washing station, and you could help yourself to some hot chocolate. There was a place here to leave tips if you wanted to. And there was some printed information here, if you would care to read it, about the local vegetation and flowers and trees. We lingered here about 15 more minutes, just looking around camp, looking at the dogs and puppies, and just enjoying the atmosphere. Then it was time to board the bus and head back to the ship. So, now that the tour is over and I've shown you everything about our day, let's go back and see if the tour delivered everything it promised and whether or not we feel it was worth $200 per person. And also, I'm going to show you how to find this exact same tour if you want to. First of all, did the tour deliver everything it promised? Yes, absolutely, 100%. We were met at the pier, taken straight to the camp. We were shown everything we were supposed to see. Everybody was professional and friendly. We had hands-on access to the dogs. Everything was exciting, and it was also very educational. Secondly, do I feel it was worth $200 per person? Yes, I do. Now, as you'll see in a minute, I did find this exact same excursion online for $50 less per person. I didn't look into that. I don't know what you do about transfers to and from the ship if you book through a different site. I feel like booking it through the ship added an extra layer of convenience and safety. If anything had happened on the ride home and we had been delayed, the ship would have waited for us. So while you can find this cheaper, and that's certainly an option, I did not mind booking it through the ship, and it was one of the most memorable things we did during our week in Alaska, so I feel it was well worth the money. Now, in case you'd like to find this exact same tour, I'm going to walk you through how to find it. If you're booking directly through Princess Cruise Lines, it will look like this. You will go on the Princess website, go into their port excursion menu, look in Juneau, and it is called Sled Dog Discovery and Musher's Camp. It will run $199.95, at least that's what we paid for it. Now, if you'd like to find this through a third party, I did find it on the internet listed under www.alaskashoreexcursions.com. If you choose to find it this way, you're going to go to their website, to their main menu. You're going to click on JUNEAU Tours. Once inside JUNEAU Tours, you're going to see about 7 different sled dog excursions offered. This is the one you want right here on the right, Juneau, Musher's Camp, and Sled Dog Discovery. Now, I'm sure all of the sled dog excursions are wonderful, but today I'm talking about the one that I did, and this Musher's Camp and Sled Dog Discovery is the one that we took. All in all, a wonderful port excursion, one of the more memorable port excursions I've ever done. It was a great way to get out into Alaska, see some of the state, see the forest, meet real mushers, real sled dogs, have a very unique experience. It was wonderful. Have you been on an Alaska cruise? Have you done this port excursion or something similar? If you do and you have a comment or tip for your fellow traveler, please leave a comment. I hope you found this video helpful in planning your next Alaska cruise. If so, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for stopping by, and enjoy your next cruise. Happy sailing!